So the first question that you have when you're beginning in trading is actually where to practice the trading. And the biggest concern then is to find a good trading site that you can go often to, that has wild animals, of course, big enough that you can follow, and frequent enough that you can have fresh tracks, and with a good substrate that these fresh tracks register in an easy to practice zone. So here first we are going to talk about the substrate selection and how to test how good the substrate is. So here on the dirt road in the middle of the forest, you can see that there's basically a kind of soil. So this is sand, and if we test it, we see that it's compacted sand. So this won't register too well the tracks of the animals. So indeed, you may still see from ungulate who have hard hooves the kind of shape, especially the external shapes in case of deers, for example. But as soon as it's a bit light, or if there's not too much energy in the tracks, then it won't register there. Now, what's very interesting is that if you see in the distance, we see a change of habitat, and also the road turns a bit white. And here we're passing a zone, so it's still compacted, but if you look 2-3 meters in front of you, there's going to be a damp area where things are going to register better already. It's just local. Whereas if we go further here, after this patch of leaves, we're going to see some area where there's a very different kind of substrate, and also note that it changes. We go from mixed beech and conifers to actually a new, younger regeneration of forest with a big conifer on the left and some birch on the right. And here, as you see, we're having a change of color of the soil, of the dirt road. And if we stop and test the substrate, we are going to see a very different picture. So here you see how well it registers the imprints of my stick. So this is typically what you are looking for, and this is a tracking plate or track trap. It's an area where tracks are going to register, and here it is. What you see is that directly we can see tracks of animals that are clearly visible. So what's important is when you're training, if you can see tracks from a great distance, then it's going to affect your training form, because you're going to keep your eyes much more on the horizon and not start and stop looking everywhere. Now, the other question is, are animals present? And in the site, you need to have quite a lot of animals that are present, frequent enough so that when you show up, there's always a fresh trail. And here, what you can see is also that there's a direction of travel. What you'll notice is that you see much better the tracks in the direction of travel if you follow the animal than if you go against the direction of travel. So pay attention to that. Sometimes it's useful to go back and forth on a trail, on a path, on a dirt road, in order to recognize or identify or spot the tracks that you may have missed on the way in. Also very important is the mapping. Mapping is going to enable you to actually find the potential trading sites. So here we take the example of the city of Lyon, where you can definitely see multiple big areas. So these areas are areas that are with big splash of green color. And typically this is where you're going to find most wild animal, and typically the biggest one. So if you can find deer, that's the kind of animal that you want to follow. Our deer are red deers. In the US it's white deer. Actually, white deer are apparently hard to follow, a bit like our roebuck and roe deer in France. So your goal is really to find an area which is suitable for these big wild ungulates. Deer first, then boar. Wild boar may be also a solution, but wild boar tend to circle around and make a lot of tracks that go over each other in large groups, so it's harder to follow. Now you see that we are going to also avoid places which are too close to the road, here for example, or places which are too close to other kind of human disturbance, such as here on the left we see a place which is close to home. So definitely this is less potential for deers. Wild boar don't care too much. They can be actually very close, even in cityscape. Now, once we've identified, we need to walk and go there. So in summary, the first thing that we need to do is actually to do mapping and to look for sites that are potentially having animals that are big enough to follow and frequent enough so that you're actually going to meet fresh tracks each time you go there. It's the best. Fresh tracks are much easier to follow. You'll need to go there and have walks in order to confirm that the animals are really present and are registering well in the substrate. Finally, when you're going to do your walk, you're going to identify if there's a good substrate so that the tracks register well and that you are able to see them, and more importantly to distinguish if they are old or fresh tracks. Well, I wish you a very good walk, and definitely this video is useless if you don't go out in the field. So here is a little challenge for you. You're going to go in the field and take video, or even better, movies, like little video recording of your session, and you're going to actually post it on YouTube and link it in the comment of this video. And this way we'll go back and forth between the different video and be able to comment and give you examples and review your trailing session and give you tips. Have a great walk and enjoy your time outside.